People who have been discriminated for something they cannot control. What's your story? I have an ileostomy. Need to wear a bag. There are times where the bag needs emptying pretty damn quickly, or more embarrassingly, it leaks. If I'm out, I urgently need to use disabled toilets. I was in such a situation once, but when I tried to go into the toilet, was challenged by a man in a wheelchair who shouted, "You don't look disabled." People nearby stopped talking and looked over towards us, so I pulled up my t-shirt and showed him my bag. Crying, shaking, "I hope you never have to wear one of these," and promptly locked myself in the toilet to change my leaking bag. Yep, it was messy. I don't like going out much due to this. It's not my fault I have no bowel, but please, for anyone who thinks people must be in a wheelchair to use disabled loos, just consider invisible disabilities too. Asterisk. That guy was just an asshole, I'm sorry. Dyslexia. We have a scheme in the UK which a lot of business use. Essentially, it gives anyone with a disability such as dyslexia a guaranteed interview if they have the minimum requirements for a position. I've never ever had an interview after declaring my dyslexia to a company, organization, including the NHS, despite them proactively promote this policy. From my experience, if you declare it, you're off the table. The whole scheme is just a way for a company to look good but not actually commit. That must suck. I tried to be a nanny for a little bit. Things would go great with the family for a bit. Then someone would find out that I'm Jewish, ethnically, and I'd be fired for something unrelated that was definitely an anti-Semitic stereotype. This happened twice. The first time it was the Iranian grandmother who was so sweet before I told her I'm Jewish. Like, she absolutely loved me before she opened up. We had a girl talk. We openly talked about politics. She respected my education around child development and thought I was great with the kids. She asked about my family. I told her about my Oma being born in Auschwitz. And suddenly I was lazy, stupid, and probably stealing from the monsieur. The second family was an American dad and a Ukrainian mother. Though to be fair, I should have known the Ukrainian woman would have been unhappy with me being a Jew. But the woman was a doctor who spoke 3 languages, so I thought maybe she'd be a little more sensible. Nope. I worked as a special needs nanny for her 13-year-old boy with total synapses disconnect, her 3-year-old with autism, and their seemingly neurotypical 1-year-old. Things went great for months. I did a lot of overtime and extra work for them. They sold me one of their cars. I did a lot of tech support for them. It seemed to be a really great fit. Then, a hurricane knocked a tree branch into one of the downstairs bedrooms. And instead of dealing with it, they just shut the door and let the mold grow in. Despite being very, very wealthy, after a month of everyone being sick, she made a very dry joke about me putting a voodoo curse on the monsieur. I stupidly joked back, "I think I missed my synagogue's lesson on curses." She looked at me and went, "You're Jewish? Seriously?" And I said yes, ethnically. That was Thursday. On Sunday, she called me drunk, screaming about how I'm dirty and that I'm so dirty that it's probably why everyone is sick. I'm just so dirty that it's making everyone in the house sick. Yeah, so I guess I quit that one. But could you blame me? So that's the story of how I tried to use my degree and realized that while I love children, the adults in their families suck. Oh my god, some people are just sick. I'm so sorry to hear this. I was up for a job at a medium-sized company. I had all the qualifications, all the skills. Basically did the same job at my last job. The HR person was newer and sent out an email. It said, "You were the absolute perfect person for this job, but we hired a younger woman just out of college for it instead. The person who would train you is an older woman and she doesn't like to work with men." I lost it. I replied, "Wait, I didn't get the job because the retiring trainer doesn't like men." They replied, "Yes." I went straight to a lawyer. I showed the emails, explained the situation, and I said I'm going to sue the shit out of the company. The HR person, the trainer, everyone. The lawyer sat calmly, reviewed the documents, and simply said, "No, you're not." I got mad and screamed, "Yes, I am. An email was denied a job based upon my sex. This is discrimination." The lawyer calmly put his hand up and said again, "No, you're not." His response was eloquent. There were countless issues at hand. I was discriminated against. I did have a case, but there would be no winning for me. The case would take years to get through the courts. It would be insanely expensive. If I won money, the lawyer, court would get it all. If I sued for the job, everyone there would hate me. They'd make my life miserable. And they'd do everything to get me out as soon as possible. Plus, they would likely use the media to assassinate my character. An angry older man is trying to sue a younger woman out of her job. It would blacklist me and make getting any job in the future difficult. So no lawyer will take the case. Yes, I was discriminated against. Yes, life sucks. But there is only misery down that path. I need to suck it up and move on. I appreciated his insight and honesty. He also didn't charge me for the consultation. I'm from Eastern Europe. It's not as bad as a discrimination against black people or against Muslims with large beards and obviously traditional white clothes, but I can definitely feel it. I spent years watching films and trying to recreate accents used by actors. Right now you'd have a hard time telling I come from outside of UK, but you definitely will not be able to place my accent. In UK you can tell from what region or city a person is by accent. So that wasn't easy, but it helped. Next thing I did was change my name. Now I am far more likely to get hired. The Brits sure love to claim they aren't racist discriminatory though. I have achondroplastic dwarfism. The same form of dwarfism that Wee Man and Peter Dinklage have. For reference, without a doubt, the worst thing about it isn't the condition itself, but how people can treat me because of it. It was particularly bad in high school. This was before the days of Game of Thrones, where the portrayal of Tyrion Lannister made everyone realize we're human beings. At that point, the go-to comparisons were Mini-Me and Oompa Loompas, and those comparisons were made constantly. I was physically bullied in school, to the point that I had bones broken, and I was psychologically bullied as well. It was pretty fucking shit in all honesty. And unlike the rest of my high school friends, I have no warm memories of that time. As an adult, it's not all peachy now, but it is significantly better. Mostly because my interaction with children and teenagers has drastically reduced. But adults can suck as well. I get people taking photographs of me in public without my permission. I get people heckling me, patronizing me, ignoring me in conversation, and so on. I think the examples of people treating me differently can come from a variety of motivations. The most common of which is, ironically, the fear of insulting me. Some people really freeze up around me and don't know how to interact with me without doing something wrong, so they won't interact with me at all. Fortunately, outright malice is not common, and enough people mean well enough that I feel pretty content in my everyday life. It does definitely take a mental adjustment to realize how people perceive you, though, for better or worse. I'm black, I'm trans, and I have a vagina. I'm in the begging to have pain relief for a minor surgery phase of my life. Damn, I hope you can work things out and they can get better for you. That's a hell of a trifecta. I'd argue that trans people have the hardest time. People say the worst things. Wishing you the best. I'm Mexican and came to the US when I was 3 years old with my parents. So I was lucky enough to grow up learning both Spanish and English and speak them both fluently. However, my parents had a much harder time learning English, but they tried their best and went to ESL classes too. They got to a point where they understood it very well, but they would confuse little things while speaking it and have accents. I can remember so many times when people would talk to my parents like they were stupid and damn near insult them because their English wasn't perfect. 3 years ago I was moved out of a role at my work because they wanted more men in that specific department. A department that only had 3 other women in it and 9 men. It wasn't a guys either. This is what they told me, and I was just moved sideways into the same role in a different department. I saw this happen in a department a few years ago. New Japanese manager came in and it took less than a year to fire all women and replace them with young Japanese guys, and the company watching it and claiming that they were an equal opportunity employer. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.